When it comes to analyzing stocks, one of the most important steps that you can take is to read the company's annual 10K report. This report provides you with a lot of very useful information such as financials, business model, business strategy, etc. In this video, I'm going to share with you how you can most effectively read an annual 10K report. This will allow you to not get overwhelmed by all the different contents of the report, and most importantly, to allow you to find better investment opportunities faster. Okay, so before we get into what an annual 10K report is, I want to show you first how it is that you get an annual 10K report so you can analyze it in the first place. There's different ways in which you can do it. So one of the ways is you can literally just Google the company name followed by the word annual report, and sometimes the most recent report shows up. But I want to show you the best way that I have found. So in this case, all you have to do is Google SEC search. And then what's going to happen is that you'll see this link right here. And then all you have to do is go to company filings. And what's going to happen is that here you're going to be able to search for any publicly listed company. This is, keep in mind, this only works for US stocks. If you're looking at international stocks, the way in which you get the annual reports might be slightly different. So in this case, the company that we're going to be looking at for this video as an example is going to be HubSpot. So you can type in the ticker, or you can type in the company name, or I think even the CIK. And what's going to happen is that here you're going to be able to see all the filings that the company has made to the SEC. Remember, public companies have to report these filings periodically. It is mandatory. And then here, 10K and 10Q reports. So the 10Q is the quarterly report. The 10K is the annual report of the company. The 10K is usually the best report to learn at first because it gives you the greatest overview of the company. So in this case, you can see there's different 10Qs, and then we have the 10K. All you have to do is click on filing, and then you're going to be taken to this page. And then from here, you can see the 10K is right here. So you can just simply click on this link. And the cool thing about this 10K report format is that you're going to be able to see like the different sections of the 10K report. You're going to be able to filter, so only highlight some of the data that's found in the report. You're going to be able to find tags, facts, etc. So this is a cool way of looking at an annual report. And then you can also search for information and facts right here on the search bar. Okay, so now that you know where to get annual 10K reports for public companies, let's talk a little bit more about what an annual 10K report is. So this is a filing that I mentioned before that needs to be filed by companies to the SEC or some type of reporting agency, in which the company reports its state of operations. So this includes information such as the state of the business, risk factors, staff comments in this case, legal proceedings, and a whole bunch of other stuff. So altogether, this allows you to get a pretty clear picture of how the business is doing and what they're looking to do next. And of course, that information is critical to know whether or not you want to invest in a particular company and how some of the things that are included in the filing are likely to impact the results of the company in the future. So this could be certain things like business strategies, different initiatives like merger and acquisition plans, etc. Okay, so the first step to read an annual 10K report effectively is to navigate directly to the table of contents. And the reason why is because from here, you're going to be able to go to the section that's most relevant to you. So for example, let's say that we want to go to the risk factors. So you can click on this and immediately you're going to be taken to this section of the report. Now, this helps if you're doing it in electronic form. However, if you're reading the annual report in physical form, which I also recommend, and it definitely also has its place, you can follow the same structure that I'm going to show you next. The first thing that you'll want to read from the annual report is the business section. So if I click here, what's going to happen is that here you're going to get an overview of the business, which I have found tremendously helpful because sure, there's information that you can find online about companies, but they often provide descriptions that are hard to find anywhere else. So in this case, we get a little bit of information about HubSpot. I'll try to make this bigger so you guys can read this, but basically it talks about their customer relationship platform, and he talks about what types of businesses they serve. This is really key information. So it says here, we focus on selling to mid-market business to business. And so they define that as companies that have between 2 and 2,000 employees. And this is critical because we could note this down and then do additional research on how big is this B2B market in terms of a CRM. And then here they report some key numbers in terms of some financial results that they've achieved. And here, this is critical. They talk about the HubSpot approach, and they talk about their business model, what differentiates them from the competition, and how they structure their business. So this is information that, again, I recommend you note down. If there's any specific questions like scalability, a really important thing, like is this something that really differentiates the company from other CRM businesses? You could note this down, then go ahead and go to Google, do some more research, and then you can have a better idea of that particular subject. Here they describe their competitive strengths. Again, this information is critical because later on what you want to do is to note some of these ones down and then look to see what other competitive advantages you think the company has based on research. And that will ultimately affect the analysis and the results of the analysis that you perform on a particular company. Then here, another great thing that they include is their growth strategy. They talk more about their platforms and the different services that they offer. Again, this is all critical information that you can dive in deeper, either in the report or also from outside research. Once you read the business section, I recommend that you go to the risk factors because, as you know, any investment that you make has a different level of risk involved. And so companies generally do a pretty good job at listing some of the main risk factors that the company has. And sometimes they even include how they plan to mitigate some of those risks. So it is important that you're aware of those risks, but again, you also have to do your own research to see, like, are there any additional risks that the company is not including that I should be aware of? After you read that section of the 10K report, I recommend that you move to the financial analysis part. So here, if we scroll down after the business section, you will see here how the company will start to report some metrics. So in this case, they report the performance against the market, but here's some key business metrics. So here they talk about their number of customers, and you could see how this has changed over time, the average subscription revenue per customers, and the net revenue retention. So these are key numbers that you want to keep in mind, especially as you do your financial analysis later on. And you also want to look at the definition of all these different items to make sure that they actually do make sense. Otherwise, you're going to have to make adjustments on your end. And the general idea, we have many videos on our channel on how to analyze financials and perform trend analysis and whatnot. The general idea that you want to see is, like, is the company, like, what direction is the company heading in? And are the business strategies working, or are they being inefficient and achieving the goals that the company has set historically? But then what you want to do is, like I said, research the specific elements and the questions that come up to your head as you begin reading the annual report. So one of them, for example, might be, how big is the CRM market? What are the predictions for the market? So if I look at the CRM market, I could look for a CRM market report. And then here, for example, this is a good source actually for market research. You get some more statistics into how the market's likely to grow, and you may also get information about the different segments that are driving the growth of that market, and then compare that with how the company is approaching its operations to see if there's alignment. If there isn't, then perhaps it's not likely that the company is going to be able to capture on that growth. Also, when you're doing your financial projections, which we're going to get into next, you could also use some of this information. Keep this information in mind, like the compounded annual growth rate, to see how are revenues likely to grow. Are they going to exceed this number? Are they going to be lower? That also depends on the rest of your analysis. Okay, so once you research the company thoroughly through the annual report as well as other sources, what you want to do is, if you find that the company has a good strategy, a good plan for expansion, sustainable competitive advantages, a great market that's growing, and a good management team, what you want to do at that point is to look deeper into the financials. So something that you can do is to use white sheets. We have many tutorials on our channel on how to use it, and then get all the financial data so that you can analyze the numbers deeper. So that may mean, for example, here, if you're looking at the income statement, and let's say for your valuation and your projections, you really want to take into consideration the growth. We have many different videos on how to do different types of financial analysis, but here's one of them, which is calculating the percentage growth of a particular number. And here you can see how this number has changed over time. And you could do some other stuff, like for example, let's say here you can add spark lines, so you could visualize the data a lot easier. So in this case, we're going to select this. That's perfect. And then we could do this. And now we can get a better idea of the trend of the numbers. This is a line sparkling. You could also change it to a column. That's the one that I like the most. And something else that you could do that I recommend is that you compare the annual performance to the TTM performance, because there might be reasons why the business did well in the past, but all of a sudden there's something that's changing, that it's affecting the financial performance. So you want to be aware of that. And that's why I recommend that what you do is you get the TTM numbers. So in this case, I want to do this. So that way you can also do a check to assess whether or not the company is on track to achieve their objectives. Last step that you want to do is to do your valuation of the company. So using all the information, all the research, you can perform a valuation that's going to be very good, assuming you have experience doing this. And again, this is something that you improve upon over time. So in this case, I did a very rough valuation based on different data. And in this case, we have that the price per share for my particular preferences is about $205. Right now the price is $278, so it's too high. But don't worry, after you do all the research and assuming you like the company, what you can then do is add this company to your watch list and maybe set up a notification. So if the price reaches a certain threshold, like in this case 205, you'll be interested in buying and you can look at the company again. Now you know how to read an annual 10K report effectively. And with this, you can spot attractive investment opportunities more effectively. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications bell on, so that way you get notified every time we release a new video like this. That's going to allow you to take your investing game and your portfolio's performance to the next level. I'll see you in the next one.